In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 4 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Park City talking with Carly Driscoll, the owner and operator of Wasatch Back Media. Wasatch Back Media is a digital marketing consultancy based in Park City, Utah, that keeps their clients up to speed and current in an ever-changing, sometimes turbulent digital landscape. Their primary area of expertise is digital strategy and execution, and they bring your business to life through sophisticated, intentional digital marketing strategy. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoy.
Well, welcome Carly Driscoll to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, as I was saying before, these are relatively short form interviews. So here we go, 20 minutes. We might throw a few questions at you. The random ones as well. We'll see where we're at. But the first one is, can you give us a 1 minute kind of Reader's Digest version of your life?
Yeah, so I am a Midwestern girl. I was born and raised in a small farm town in Ohio. I was a competitive and then professional water skier. That's kind of like a fun fact about me. I went to college in Louisiana on a full ride water ski scholarship.
Whoa.
It exists, I know.
That's amazing.
Super weird. And then after college, instead of, going straight into my career and trying to make it in the world, I decided to travel around the world trying to be a pro water skier. And at the, young age of 25, decided that I needed to maybe get my career going.
Was it an injury or was it
I as a water skier, you always have injuries. Yeah. I have a really bad back from it, but really just mentally drained, bank account drained.
Yeah.
And just kind of feeling like, all right, I need to get going here. So landed in Salt Lake City and thought maybe if I came to a landlocked state with not much water, I wouldn't water ski as much. And so kind of focused on just skiing at Alta and trying to, find my way. And all the water skiers here found me and were like, can you coach us? Can you be part of, our water ski club? And I was like, no, but it got sucked in a little bit. But yeah, landed in Salt Lake because of Alta for the skiing and started my career here and haven't left for 14 years. Here we are.
That's amazing. What got you into water skiing in the first place? Was this your family of parents?
Yeah.
And how young were you?
I was, when I first water skied behind the boat, I was 18 months old.
What?
Really crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
My family did it as a family sport. We all competed all over the country as a family. My dad was really into it. When he met my mom, we had a summer place that we went to as soon as school got out. We were on the river, water skiing every single day. Yeah.
Tell us what you're up to right now. At the current time, what are you up to? What are you doing for work?
So currently, I'm about to end my 3rd year of owning my own marketing firm. I branched out and launched my own business in the midst of COVID in 2020. I've been in the agency space for 7 years before that. So this will be my 10th year in digital marketing. And like I said, 3rd year owning and operating my own business. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to lean into entrepreneurship and what that takes. Kind of proven to myself that I can withstand the business, but now I'm trying to scale it and figure out where the future of the business is. I really do love being a business owner, but it definitely has its challenges.
What is one of the bigger challenges that you feel like you've had to overcome, or maybe are still even facing right now?
Yeah, so I think that, I think being a woman-owned entrepreneur and business owner is a little interesting, especially in the digital space. My clientele currently is in the outdoor industry. However, the 7 years I had in the agency down in Salt Lake that I worked at, we did a lot of different markets. So we did a lot of work with law firms and cyber and insurance. And for my business future, I'd like to branch out of the outdoor industry a little bit. And when I go up against big clients in non-outdoor clients, they sometimes are like, well, you're a really small boutique firm and you're a woman. And so I've felt that a little bit. And that kind of has been my biggest challenge, is just making sure that people like understand and respect the expertise that they get when they work with Wasatch Back Media.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So a couple of questions about that, but your the outdoor world, is that just because it was just naturally you went after that, or people approached you because they knew that your background in water skiing and marketing? How did you find that?
I think that, my career has been in the outdoor industry forever. So when I moved to Salt Lake and decided to stop water skiing and try to get my career started, I was, working up in Alta skiing nearly 100 days a year and like, what am I going to do? And I got my first job at Backcountry.Com, which is right over here, and worked there for 5 years. And I actually worked from the very bottom, like I was in customer service, and I worked my way over 5 years up into the corporate office. At one point, I was the front desk girl, but I was running employee perks and benefits and events. And I wrote my own job description and presented it to the CMO and CEO, Jill Layfield, at the time, which I think looking back on it, I just like had no shame.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to like write my own job description and ask for a meeting with the CEO of Backcountry.com. I just wasn't scared. I think today me would be scared to do that. But I said, look, we're doing events for employees. We're sponsoring Running with Ed and Ragnar and various events that are out in the community. Like, we should be doing consumer facing events. And this is how I see that. And luckily for me, the CEO at the time, like, totally understood that. And they gave me a job in the marketing department. And we did a national event campaign where we sponsored the Free Ride World Tour. We went around to, Big Sky, Crested Butte, Telluride, and did these really cool events. We sponsored the Tour of Utah, and it was myself and my boss, Erica West, at the time, running that, and it was really cool. And so my network, my social network, was in the outdoor space. And then when I went to the agency, they got a couple big outdoor clients, and they assigned me to them.
It opens doors and resonates.
And so I've just been working in that space. And when I decided to open my own firm and branch out, they followed me. A couple of my big clients followed me to the firm. And so they gave me my footing to launch the business. I
like that. Just going back to like that decision though, like to pitch your role, because I think that's a pleasant.
He's done something very similar to that as well.
Yeah, I think I went for 20 years without American Express, without a job interview. I pitched functions, teams, whatever, to just try to see that opportunity. But where did that come from though? Because I think it's a great attribute to be able to go and use, but where did it come from? Did it just come to your mind? Did your dad tell you, come on, get on with it, or your mum? What
you mean when I wrote the job description? I think that it's interesting. I was reflecting on this the other day. I have some business coaches that we were talking about, and my former boss said to me, like, you're so competitive. And I'm like, well, I was like a high level athlete, and you kind of can't take that out of the person. And when I was younger, it maybe served me in some negative ways in the workplace because I am a woman and I was competitive and confident, and maybe that can be not good for a woman. you know,
And
sometimes
people might feel threatened. even though they shouldn't.
you know, and it sucks. And that's like a whole nother, like, you know, multiple hour-long discussion. But so when I was at Backcountry, I was like, gosh, I got to get my career going. I got to move. I got to do this. Like, what should I do? And like, when you train for something, you have a plan and you do it. And so I kind of treated my career like that. And so I just saw some opportunity, and
why not?
Like I said, Ed, like I was young, I had no fear. And so, that kind of has spiraled me into like what I am doing today. So the business, of course, and one of the projects in the business is I work in the ski industry to welcome and encourage women in skiing. So breaking down barriers for women plus in the sport of skiing, trying to help the ski industry be more inclusive for women, no matter what your background. So we try really hard to bring in the BIPOC community and the LGBTQ plus women's community, and women's plus community to welcome them into the sport. And so that's kind of my passion project within my business.
What's been the biggest barrier for this community to get into skiing and snowboarding and winter sports? What have you seen?
You know, I think the barrier specific to skiing is not any different than the barrier we see in life right now. And whereas the industry is made up of a lot of, you know, cis white men, right? So, and a lot of them are it's really cool because they are open and acknowledging the fact that the industry is run by men. And I'm actually having a really cool experience this season as we, you know, we'll talk about later on the podcast, on your podcast series, but I'm working really closely with Alterra Mountain Resort and Icon. They own Icon. They're one of the most powerful companies in the ski industry right now. And you know, the resorts and the Icon Epic Mountain Collective movement over the last handful of years has really shaped and changed the industry. Yeah. And there is a lot of negative and positive comments about that, like Icon has ruined our resort, or I feel that with the work I'm doing, Icon and even Epic is helping to allow more people into the industry at an affordable rate, and maybe is reaching some of those populations, BIPOC, LGBTQ populations, and making them feel welcome.
Is it into the industry, so the ski industry, or into the actual, into the sport, like just getting out onto the mountain?
It's both. Yeah. So if you look at the industry, we kind of think of it almost as two separate. So people who work within the industry is very much dominated by men. Yeah. However, it is shifting. There are, specifically for Alterra Mountain Resort, as I'm getting to know them better doing this work, is they're actually making a very, very intentional effort to put women in leadership roles within their mountain ops teams and their retail teams, like buying and retail, which is a big shift that we're going to start to see the impact of here in a few years because they're doing that work now. Some of the ski brands are also doing that. I can speak a little bit to Nordica because they're my main client and I work with them, and they have me in their role as their women's lead for North America. And so while I don't work internally for them, it's kind of cool because I'm not internal and I can come to them with an outside perspective in this kind of powerful role for the brand. And they'll see that this year when we go to activate 3 years worth of work we've been working up to. And then in the ski community, so representation matters. Yeah. And up until just a few years ago, like there was zero representation of a Black skier or a Hispanic skier or any type of non-white skier. And so I think people within the industry have been working to try to ask people to ski and provide opportunities to help them learn how to ski or get into skiing or feel welcome in skiing. So you kind of you're starting to see more representation when you're on your ski vacation. You can kind of just look around and you're starting to see that.
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at Kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's Kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Camper Vans, a luxury camper van rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Camper Vans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
And enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at Taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. I'm wondering, so before we jump into, I think, what the project is that you're working on, I am interested in the community itself, out on the mountain and things like that. And I totally agree about the representation, and it's slightly you can start to see that it's shifting a little bit right now. But I've always felt that the community itself is a very open-minded, welcoming, community. If I'm out on the mountain, everybody seems genuinely open and kind and very welcoming and excited to see new people on the mountain, right? Excited to see people learning, and it always seems very supportive. But I don't know, from your perspective, what have you seen?
I think so too, and I think as a participant in the sport of skiing, everyone skis for joy.
Yeah.
It's leisure, it's not competitive, you're on vacation. So you almost want to leave your daily worries behind, leave the daily politics, leave the daily work you're doing, whatever it is, and you're just happy when you're on vacation. I think that we can easily say that, I can easily say that as a white woman. I'm happy, I'm good. But I have friends that are Mexican American, that are mixed race, that are Black, that are skiing, that are sometimes I don't actually feel that way.
Right, yeah.
I feel pretty isolated because when I look around, I don't see anyone else around me that looks like me.
Yeah.
And so that's why the representation matters. So I think it's just we have to be careful on how we feel and how you know, they feel, and try to bridge that gap and make it feel like we are
We all
one
belong
community.
here. Yeah.
I had a really cool experience. I don't ski at Park City Mountain Resort here locally, but I did go up to the Pride Day ski that they hosted, and it was a really, really beautiful experience. There were hundreds of people on the mountain skiing in to raise awareness for trans and queer skiers. And I came off the day and I was like, wow, this was so fun. This was so friendly. This was so nice. It felt like, wow, my town is doing really good here. And I was proud of Epic for hosting that. But I went back later and looked at the comments on social media and the posts. It was unbelievable. The hatred and mean comments. And so it was really like, okay, well, this does exist, and we still have a lot of work ahead of us to continue to welcome, minority groups to skiing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like becoming my mission in the industry. Mostly started with women, and it's still very much like centered around women, because I think we have an opportunity to change it there first. So, yeah. Kind of complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's impressive though that, I mean, yeah, scratching the surface on some things, that great, amazing day, which was played I think it was an important part, right? Of sending the right message, but then dig a bit deeper, and there's some big hurdles still to address.
Yeah.
Well, we've got 4 minutes, Josh. So now we've got to address this road trip that you're about to do.
Which sounds amazing.
Well, I do want to say really quick to sum that up.
Yeah.
Just to sum that up, like my business, Wasatch Back Media, now is offering 20% off or discounted services to any women-owned and operated businesses. And also if your business is owned and operated by someone from the LGBTQ plus community, because in general, women and minority communities have less access to capital to help them with their marketing needs. So if they're a startup and needing to get the word out, they typically are, not approved for loans, or just don't have access to the capital that other people might. So I do want to throw that out, that for our digital marketing services are at a discounted rate for women plus.
That's cool.
Fantastic.
And that's Wasatch Back Media.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So tell us about this road trip that you're doing.
Oh yes, the road trip. It's a big one. I know. I'm very excited.
I know. We're on a road trip.
It's your road. Oh, there's so many road trips.
Yeah.
So I have Wasatch Back Media. That's my digital consultancy. And then I have a sister company, Wasatch Back Events. And I launched that because we have a very big campaign where we've actually partnered with Moterra Camper Vans.
Which is amazing.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
Kevin has just been great to work with, easy and professional. And that happened in the Kiln kitchen, actually, here in Park City. So we were just like in the Kiln kitchen.
Here we go.
And I had been pitching this to my client for 10 months.
Wow.
It's been a 3-year business strategy for Nordica. And budget is hard, you know? And at first I was like, we're going to buy a van. We're going to deck it out. It's going to be really expensive. And they're like, you're crazy. Yeah. And so I had to redo the plan like 5 times. And I was talking about it, and Kevin heard me, and we started, shooting the shit. And he was like, well, we'll partner with you on this. And I was like, you are literally going to save my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And it happened right there, right by that kombucha.
These collisions at Kiln are important. I guess one of the reasons why you use Kiln or part of it.
So what is the road trip, and what is kind of like your mission or your goal?
Yeah, so the road trip is we are doing a multi-state. We're starting here in Salt Lake, but the van is going to drive all the way to New England to the Nordica U.S. headquarters. And we are going to activate 19 events for women, community events for women to come out and ski with us. So,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's and throughout the tour, so these are private paid events. They're catered to have a high impact, high quality experience. So the van will be there. We'll have this really cool setup. We'll have 30 pairs of skis that the ladies are going to get to swap out 3 times. They're going to have breakfast, lunch, and après with us. They'll get a really sick swag bag, entered to win our raffle. And the whole thing is aimed at raising money for our women's nonprofit, which is SheJumps. SheJumps.org is an organization that has been around for 16 years. They just had their like Sweet 16 party. And they are Nordica's women's partner. And their mission is to bring women and girls into the sport of skiing, into the outdoors. And we have been partnered with them. This is going to be our 3rd year with their Icon Snowpack Scholarship, which is 100% dedicated to bringing women of color into skiing. And they give scholarships. And so we're kind of doing a big mission this winter to get people to engage with Nordica and build our women's community, continue to build that, but also raise awareness for and money for SheJumps. And we have a goal of trying to raise $50,000 this season.
That's so cool.
That's great.
So are you stopping at different resorts?
Yeah, so we've partnered with Alterra Mountain Company, which is Icon. And so most of the stops will be at Icon Resorts.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, all of the stops will be at Icon Resorts. Some of them will be at Boyne Boyne Mountain Sports locations. However, they participate with Icon. So, we're going to go to Sugarloaf, Stratton, Boyne Highlands, Steamboat, Palisades, Mammoth, Sun Valley, Solitude, Deer Valley. Yeah.
Sounds tiring, but super exciting.
Yes. I have a girl working with me who will be driving the van across the country. It's going to be really fun. We have our athletes and ambassadors flying in. We have Claire Smallwood, the executive director, coming in, and it's going to be just a really good time.
And so as far as people who want to attend this, is it, so how open is it for people to attend? Like, what does that look like? And can people show up, I guess?
Yeah. So we haven't launched it publicly yet. It's launching here in just a couple weeks, and people can register through our website, nordica.com/ whatever it ends up being. It's called the Connect Tour, and to connect women and industry people. And they're paid events. So there's 21 spots to each day. And the price range varies based on location, lift ticket pricing and things. It's a paid event. They get breakfast, coffee with us, lunch on hill, 3 ski swaps throughout the day, après party at the end, a raffle. Moterra Camper Vans is going to give away a 6-day vacation at the very end of the tour. We're giving away pairs of skis at each stop. So people will be able to register through the event link.
So what does it feel like for you? You said 3 years, basically pitching and going back, changing it, pitching it again. So seeing where it's at now and knowing that it's real and that you're about to set off, in the very short term future, how does that feel?
Scary.
Yeah.
No, when I say 3 years, so Nordica is kind of like, we were not the first to come to the table with women's initiatives for our brand, right?
Yeah.
There's the K2 Alliance, there's the Blizzard Technica Women to Women program and all of that. And so we took a really kind of more scholarly approach to this. Year one was discovery. We did a bunch of auditing in the industry, auditing within our own brand, auditing our rep force, our women that were connected. Year two was educate. We educated a kind of a tight-knit group to teach them about the B2B business in the ski industry and ask them, what should we do? How would you build community? This is not me coming up with this. This was this community of women around the brand that came together to say, you need to be on snow with women, let them get on your product, but really show them who you are. Like, you're not just selling hard goods. We as a brand are selling community. We want community, because if you don't have community, you don't have demand for product, right? So, at the end of the day, obviously we're a manufacturer, we sell skis, but really we want to build community. And so then 3 years later, it's activate. And this is how we're going to activate. And that's what took hard to get it across the finish line, to get buy-in from Alterra Mountain Resort, to get buy-in from Nordica to put their money where their mouth is, and they did it. And now it's on Wasatch Back Events to activate it. It's exciting. And I'm scared.
Cool. No. Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I know we've probably got another guest outside waiting.
It was amazing.
But
I
this
love
is
talking
great.
with you.
And the fact that we're going to meet up again, we can ask you those extra questions.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to meet you.
It was super fun.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.